Terrence Templeton. So he is asking, based on everything you've gathered, what position group do you think projects to see the biggest growth from 21 to 22?
I think the low hanging fruit would be offensive line, so I'll go in a different direction. But I do definitely think, even from the couple of months Coach Cristobal has been our head coach and offensive line coach, and Alex Mirabal has been offensive line coach, that offensive line that we watched this spring was completely different than anything I watched under the previous regime at Miami. It just was that big of a jump, and with some of the same guys, that I questioned, like a DJ Skate, some of the same guys that I'm wondering could they continue to build on what they had already done, like a Zion Nelson, had proven that. Now, of course, they're going to have a snap or two here where Thomas Davis gets under Zion Nelson and walks him back to the quarterback. Okay, cool. But if you want to take Zion Nelson's entire spring game, very, very good. DJ Scaife, love what he brought to the table. Justice Uluwasu, number 70, a transfer from UNLV, being the guy that we pull. I mean, on counters and powers and getting out there in front of our running backs and climbing two linebackers and cutting safeties in open space. This is stuff we were not seeing these same three players I just illustrate to you do anything close to that. And then now they're doing it at a high level and doing it on a consistent basis. So I really like that. Offensive line would be my first answer. Low hanging fruit, though. The next one I will say is defensive back. I'll put corners and safeties together. James Williams, Cam Kitchens, Avante Williams. Those three young men had already played at a pretty good level. Okay. James had some flashes every now and then. Avante had a lot more flashes, and Cam Kitchens was one of the better defensive players with a very high football IQ that he brought to the table, and just a feel awareness. But cornerback play, I'm excited to see the growth that is going to happen at the cornerback position. There is going to be an influx of talent that will be enrolling in Summer Session A at the end of this week, like Chris Graves and guys like that, who will be in orange and green when training camp starts here in the end of July. All right. Already the cornerbacks played a little better than they had been playing under the previous regime. And again, when we get to talk about stuff like this, people think that we're taking shots at just Manny Diaz, or we're taking because he had been over the defense for the last 6 seasons. It's not just about that. It could be the way that these coaches are now articulating themselves to a player. It could be just the way these coaches build a relationship with the player. It's not necessarily just the scheme and how we do what we do, because there's only a certain amount of coverages. There's only a certain amount of blocking techniques. But do I have a great relationship with this position coach? Would I run through a wall for this position coach? Does he uplift me or does he down? Does he pull me down? Even if he's yelling and screaming at me, is he yelling and screaming at me because he knows I can do better and he's trying to build me up and fire me up? Or is he yelling and screaming at me saying my mama this and I ain't this and I don't know who gave me 5 stars because you suck and you're trash and get off my field and that kind of stuff. You have to understand how you're articulating yourself to another human being, okay? Because that's a person. And it's not soft, it's not masculine, it's not unmasculine, it's not feminist, none of that. You have to understand, number one, in order for me to coach you hard, I got to get to know you. I have to build a relationship with you. I have to want you to want to go out there and play hard for me. And I have to build that with you to expect you to do it. Not just go out there because my shirt says Coach Howland or Coach so and so. Not just because they're paying me to do this that I expect you to go out there and play at a high level. I want you to trust me. I want you to know that I'm going to put you in the best position. And when I do it, that you are going to take advantage of that opportunity and go attack the ball at its highest point, or go make the game winning block, or go make the game winning catch, or game sealing tackle, things of that nature. So I went on a rant there for a bit, my bad. But it really bothers me with that because people think that I'm always jabbing at Coach Diaz or Coach Rick. It's not about that. I'm just happy about the difference in the style of coaching that these young men are getting from true educators and true teachers. as opposed to screamers and yellers who are just screaming and yelling because they think that that's what's going to get you to go out there and play hard for us, for the Orange and Green. But at the cornerback position, with Coach Day, or Die, excuse me, he has a different method. And it might be aggressive, but he's also doing it because he knows that these young men can be so much better. And the previous DJ Ivy, the previous Al Blaze Jr., the previous Cam Kitchens, the previous Isaiah Dutson, all that, that is nowhere near the player that he knows these guys can be. And it was just little tweaks that he speaks about these in interviews, Mark. It's little tweaks about their stance or their confidence level or how you interact with them pre-practice, how you interact with them in film that he noticed, oh, okay, I gotta, if I turn them a little bit this way, if I give them a little positive energy, if I joke with them before practice. Or some players need to be serious. They have to be serious and stern. You got to stay on them at any little thing because then they'll just, oh, I already made it, man. I don't have to worry about nothing. Kick their feet up and think they've already made it to the NFL. Okay, you have to know these players. And I was really, really intrigued to hear Coach talk about that because that speaks dividends. That means he understands psychology. Okay, he understands how to be able to get into the head of his players and get them to go out there and kick Patowski, man.